Alright, picking this one up on turn 4, and the fact that we have 4 stoats already kind of gives you a pretty solid indication of what this run is going to be, and that is a Griffin treasure chest run. Now, there have been some changes on the test server, which I don't know when they'll actually get deployed, but I imagine it won't be too far off, that Griffin is going to become a buy pet, much like most of the other toy pets. I think it's always been pretty suspect in customs. Of course, in Unicorn Pack, it's not quite as good, but in customs, there's so many ways to enable it to get the Griffin very quickly. And then with the addition of Bass in the Star Pack revamp, it really just pushed it over the edge into well and truly broken. And although it was pretty uncommon in the past to actually go against someone who had unlocked an early level 3 tier 6 via Griffin, it's actually pretty common now. And so naturally that means it's in line to get patched out. But while we still have it, we might as well get some videos out of out of this footage. Now, I think this stuff was recorded before the last patch. I can't remember exactly. But we've got the level 3 anteater from the stoat, and now we just need some transform food to try and convert it into a Griffin and then sell it to get the level 3 treasure chest. I think here it's going to be a tie. Yep. Most of these runs, you're going to be losing or tying a lot of early games. And yeah, to try and keep myself afloat, I take the crocodile. We still haven't found the transform food, but there we go. We get the Water of Youth. Anteater level 3 being extremely good also helps us out big time here. In fact, we're actually going to win this turn. And I can't remember if I get the Griffin on the first attempt. No, it's Rollaway Monkey. But second attempt, we do get the Griffin. And we can bring in another lobster. And then I think we'll just combine them together and take the Golden Tamarin. So I've done so many of these runs in the past that there are a lot of tier 6s where I've already got an early level 3 recording. And so this time I was trying to go for a bunch of pets that I hadn't used before in a Griffin game. I guess we'll see some of the potential options here. So we get Lamprey and Questing Beast, both of which are pretty terrible options. I think Questing Beast was only there so that I could activate the toy if I happen to get level 3 Puma from the treasure chest. And as I say this, just the other day Troubadour put out a video about stacking Pumas with the Questing Beast toy. Although I think it might have been a members only video. I'll link his channel in the description if you want to go check out whether or not that video is available for everyone. So here on turn 10, we break the treasure chest much later than you normally would if you were going for one of these types of games. And we get Catfish. Now, originally Catfish wouldn't have done anything here because we don't have any buy pets. But in a previous update, it was changed to have an ability even if you don't have any buy pets. So we'll see it in the next shop phase. Looks like we're just going to scrape a win here against Elder first. So you'll see now that the Catfish gives +4 to the crocodile, +4 health, 3 times because it's level 3. And this is actually pretty strong. You can really rapidly buff up the health on a unit. But that's not what we're going to do. We're going to pivot to something else instead as we delete most of this team. And yeah, although the units did summon behind, thankfully the camel wasn't able to save them. So now I think I'm going to buy the alpaca. Or maybe we're going to... Yeah, I want to buy the alpaca so that I can buy the farmer cat first. So buy alpaca. Okay, maybe not. Maybe we'll go with... yeah, we'll go with chimpanzee first. Not sure that was the smartest decision. I guess I really don't need the alpaca here. Since we have the level 3 catfish, things are going to go absolutely ridiculous on the following turn. So yeah, okay, we don't really need to shortcut to level 2 farmer cat. The chimpanzee, which is another one that I've definitely not used in a treasure chest video before, gives plus 1/1 every time a pet eats a corn cob. Here we're going to eat a lot of corn cobs, so look at this. This is absolutely ridiculous, and we only have a level 1 farmer cat. Or at least we did, because now we get the level 2 immediately, and I think we're just going to keep triggering it. Maybe at this point, if I hadn't already got the stats on the 2 crocodiles so big, I might have taken the black bear to have another feeding ability. But yeah, that's just an absolutely ridiculous turn. If you look at the stats on the units that we had prior to that turn, and suddenly everything is massive except the chimpanzee and the farmer cat. So yeah, the crocodile at the front hits 50-50, and then the the catfish hits 50-50 as well. Okay, so we are going to bring in the black bear. The chimpanzee's done its job. Yeah, we'll just take whichever equipment's available. But yeah, not very common for me to upload videos where I have multiple 50-50s this early. Sometimes it's unavoidable, you know, if you're playing a game that goes to turn 17, 18, 19, if you have even basic scaling, you're going to end up with a bunch of 50-50s. But just look at this, it's just so nonsensical. And actually, I guess the farmer cat here is almost useless now, because it's only giving the corn cob stats now that we've got rid of the chimpanzee. Actually fairly close round there. We only had a single almost 50-50 left. Of course, the farmer cat is not really giving many stats anymore, but it is still feeding the black bear a ridiculous number of corn cobs. And so we can feel pretty confident that we're going to absolutely steamroll this next team. And yeah, the black bear removes a huge amount of health from the opponent, and it's a bit of a walkover. Okay, now that was a pretty grotesque team, and I'm not really one to normally upload runs like that. But the fact is, if you're going for a Griffin game, a lot of the time you're going to end up with a pretty nasty team. Except for the runs where everything just falls apart. Of course, there are going to be some of those. But if you get any of the, even scaling adjacent pets like we did there, you're in pretty good position to just absolutely crush any other team that has had, a fairly weak start, like most of these treasure chest runs tend to be. So this one's from the replay system. I don't really remember playing it, but I must have done it on the phone. I think it's just exactly the same pack, and I was trying to get a recording with some of the other units that I'd never used before. Or that I'd used them before, but I'd never had in a treasure chest game before. So this one we're definitely going to lose, even though we had, was it double platypus there? Level 2 rollaway monkey, pretty strong. We pill the mandrill, break the treasure chest, and we get chimpanzee. So it's eerily familiar here. And we're going to get a little bit of extra health from the duck cells. We can also just bring in the bonobo to get another chimpanzee. And then look at this. The 2 stoat cells produce a bonobo and a farmer cat. So next turn, if we can find some waffles or more farmer cats, the chimpanzee is just going to go absolutely ballistic. And our whole team is possibly going to get to 50-50 quicker than the previous game. Hopefully these runs are satisfying all the people who prefer those types of runs instead of fun, unique builds. Because I know there are a fair few of them out there. But look at this. With double chimpanzee, albeit we don't have the other one at level 2, just count the number of stats we get there for 3 gold. It's just absolutely preposterous. For turn 9, this team is just nonsensical. And it's only going to get worse from here because we have level 2 Farmer Cat now. And we get double waffle. So look at this. Yeah, having the 2 chimpanzees, of course, also means that they're scaling each other up. So you don't end up with two pets in terms of the Farmer Cat and the chimpanzee both being small. But yeah, this just makes me feel sick to my stomach watching this. It's so unfair on the opposing teams. Of course, it's asynchronous, so it wasn't these particular teams that happened to get destroyed by this. It was it would have been the teams that came afterwards. And actually, I had some private messages, at least one from Troubadour, asking if this was really me. He thought it might have been a copycat account or something. But no, it was me. And he was right to complain because this team is just absolutely nonsensical. Turn 11 it was there, and we had two 50-50s, a 45-45, and a 30-something. And now everything is going to be 50-50. Well, almost, except for the level 3 chimpanzee. Look at this opposing corncobs feeding team in comparison. I mean, it's just, yeah. It's quite embarrassing to watch this back because I should have just abandoned the game as soon as I got this. But I guess it's going to be much harder to do this going forward. So hopefully we're not going to see too many other runs like this. Actually, to be honest, I'm not sure I've ever faced anyone doing this, having this kind of a size of a squad this early via chimpanzee. I guess I did get pretty lucky with the shop that happened to have triple chimpanzee and farmer cat. But yeah, when it's maximized, it just goes pretty insane. And actually, this team by fanboy Ochi, is it Ochi or Ochi? I don't know. You can let me know in the comments. They've got a channel now as well. I'll link that in the description. But this team, I've seen a few variations on this in the past. And initially it looked like it would be a complete walkover, but it's actually a very strong combo. And we're getting chipped down. Of course, I have deliberately played a bit. I have deliberately avoided taking equipment here to give people a chance against this, because it was going to end up being in the pool for a couple of days. But even so, we still had one big unit left at the end there. All right, now we move on to something that isn't quite so revolting. We've got another treasure chest run. I think it's a very similar pack. Maybe there might have been some substitutions on tier 6, but we're going to break the treasure chest and we get the Philippine Eagle. I actually didn't notice if Philippine Eagle was in the previous shops or not. Usually if I get a successful treasure chest run, I'll just go and take the tier 6 out of the pack straight away. But in that previous game it was a bit different because both Catfish and Chimpanzee were kind of reliant on each other. So they stayed in between runs. And yeah, we're just going to rewatch that last battle because I wasn't quite sure what was happening there. Yeah, I don't know what I'm confused about. Sometimes that is the way of things though when you're rewatching an old run. Now, of course, Philippine Eagle, designed for Danger Pack, but it does work with the regular jump pets from Unicorn and Doorhead Ant from Golden. Now, in this battle, we get the worst possible transform from the Golden Tamarin, but it's not really going to matter because when you're getting +12/+12 twice on turn 8, is it? Yeah, not many teams are going to be able to cope with that, except maybe, double Crocodile or something. But I think I'm keeping the Tamarin here because we could get a Snow Leopard, and that would count as another jump. But we do bring in Sumatran Tiger to guarantee another jump. And the +12/+12 just looks so wrong. And nice hits from the Tasty there. Looks like I'm just going to keep the Tamarin here, although maybe I will end up swapping it out. Having the chance of the jump is all well and good, but I would rather just guarantee that we get a jump every single time. In fact, here we lose out on one of the jumps because the dolphin sniped. But I think, yeah, we might have actually needed that that buff to hit the tiger bug there, or we could have been in some trouble. Yeah, instead of taking separate Sumatran tigers, we're just going to combine them together. Again, this is very similar to the other runs, except, you know, instead of having huge starting stats, the stats are getting piled on during the battle. Yeah, okay, fair enough. It wasn't quite as easy a win as you would expect there. I guess with the base stats tiger bug, we are in danger of losing max efficiency pretty easily. This is a stronger looking team. But we do get snow leopard, so we end up getting 2 plus 12 12s. And it's going to be a pretty free win again. I haven't actually counted at this stage how many different treasure chest runs I've had in customs. There have been some in weeklies as well. Yeah, these 3 were ones that I don't think I'd ever even attempted before. We have in the past definitely joked about catfish in the comments, you know, when I've done one of these runs, and then actually it might have been in a voiceover where I've said that catfish would be terrible. Of course, you know, nothing is terrible in this game if you get the right circumstances for it. And here's an Egyptian vulture team. Don't see too many of them, but our squad goes absolutely ham. They are going to regenerate some stats from the mammoth, but yeah, they don't get a second trigger, and the Sumatran tiger is pretty hefty at the end there. So again, we get level 2 Sumatran tiger, which means we have to rearrange. At least we have to rearrange if we want the maximum damage output, because these are starting to become a bit more serious opponents. Very large squad here with the Mandrake that turns off the ability on the Philippine Eagle. I'm fairly sure that would have been a win if any unit apart from the Philippine Eagle had been hit there. But then here we get matched with an opposing jump team that is a lot more sensible looking. So fortunately for us, it's going to be a very, very comfortable win for the level 3 Philippine Eagle acquired via the treasure chest.